Good morning, FHS. Hope you're all having a great day today. Today, I'm going to be talking to you about a very serious topic. I really want your attention to make sure that we talk about this on a very large school level and a large community level. The topic today is teen dating abuse or violence. And I want you to understand the best way to keep you out of trouble is to have knowledge. Knowledge is the key to just about anything. You want to do any type of job out there, you want to be a part of anything important, knowledge is the key. The two things I want to talk to you about today is love and respect. No doubt in my mind, you guys know what love is. Y'all have parents, you have grandparents, you have sisters and brothers. Love is important. But the next one is respect. And when it comes to teen dating, violence, and abuse, that is the one thing that is missing is the respect. I think you know what love is, but let's get the respect and love combined, and we're going to move forward with that, okay? What is dating abuse? Dating abuse is a relationship or a pattern of controlling behavior that someone uses against a girlfriend or a boyfriend. The core of dating abuse is power and control. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I have no power and I have no control over someone who does not allow me to have that. So, young ladies, my goal for you today is to understand that these men and these young men, they don't have any power over you or control over you unless you allow it. And young men, all I can tell you is if that's what your relationship is based on, is how much power you have over your girlfriend and how much control you have over your girlfriend, you really are technically out of control. And let me tell you what, that's my job, is to take care of that and release you of your power if this girl comes forward. So let's understand about the concept of power and control. They don't go along with the word respect, and they definitely don't fit in the word love. What do you know about dating abuse? Is this abuse or not? That's the question that comes up to me as Officer Ayala. Hey, Officer Ayala, I'm having problems with my boyfriend, my girlfriend. What is abuse? When do I come forward? Here's what I'm going to tell you as a rule of thumb. When you're not certain, all I ask is that you go to a teacher, you go to a family member, you go to the principal, you come to me, and you go to somebody, and let's discuss whether or not it's an abuse or whether or not it's a problem. Because here's the way I look at it. I want to give everybody the benefit of the doubt. If they think that you're being abusive or you feel like you're being abused, that's my job as a professional and the professional, the teachers. Our goal is to get you to those people that will give you the proper help. And you hear statements like, we've been dating for 6 months, why haven't we had sex yet? Well, let me talk to you about that. That's a lot of pressure to put on anybody, whether you're the male or whether you're female. Just because you've been dating doesn't make that something that has to happen in a relationship. And to be quite honest with you, I don't believe personally, and as far as community-wise, I don't even think that should be happening anything. But guys, if you're going to base your love and your respect with the girl that you're dating, and the only way you're going to get proof and validation of that love and that respect is through sex, then I'm going to tell you right now, we're looking back at more of the power and control. I don't agree with that. Gentlemen, these ladies are very valuable, just as valuable as you are. Let's keep it that way. The other one that they asked me is isolation. You know, Officer, I used to go to a lot of parties with my friends. I used to go places with my friends. But ever since I've been dating this young man or I've been dating this young lady, I don't get to go anywhere. They don't like me to go places. That's what I would define as abuse. We talk about that isolation. They're keeping you from being able to see people and the challenge that maybe that you're not strong enough in your relationship to be trusted. I'm going to tell you right now, if you have no trust, that relationship is pretty much something that needs to be put to rest and move on with someone that you can trust or they can trust you. The other question is I love you so much and I don't want to live without you, or I can't live without you. I'll be quite honest with you. I can only think of very few people in this world I can't live without, and that's going to be my children and my spouse. I can live without them. It would be very difficult, but I can tell you right now, losing someone in your life, it would be hard, but I know we could progress forward. So there's no boyfriend out there, there's no girlfriend out there that they tell you, I can't live without you. I promise you right now, if they have a good mind, a good value of life, they can live without you. But girls and guys, and I'm telling you this both sides, if the girl says, if you don't love me and you don't stay with me, I'm going to kill myself. Or if the boy says, hey, you don't love me and I'm going to kill myself, I don't want you to say, oh, okay, I'll be there in a minute. I want you to dial 911 because that person needs help. Whether you identify it as needing help, I identify that as needing help. The majority of the people in this community will identify someone who threatens to kill themselves as someone needing help. That's not your job. That's my job. That's the job as a trained professional that we get those help for those kids that say that. And to be honest with you guys, if that's what you're trying to say to keep that girl with you, or if that's what you're saying to the guy to keep that guy with you, then we've got a negative there. There is no positive in that, and we're back to that power and control. If a relationship is built on fear, there is no love and most definitely no respect. Now, here's the next one. We get physical. I didn't mean to hurt you. You made me upset. You deserved it. Folks, I'm going to tell you right now, in all my life, every time I've ever dealt with a family violence or dating violence situation, I have never met one woman or one man that deserved to be physically abused by their significant others. And here's what I want you to understand. The second that you reach out and you cause physical pain to someone, not only have you damaged your relationship, but you have now committed a crime. And at that point in time, you are now a criminal, if I can prove that in a court of law. No teenager needs that stigma. Keep your hands to yourself. That's the most important things I can say. But here's what I want you to understand. When it becomes physical, there should be no flower, no box of candy, no sweet little love letter that should fix that. The only thing to fix that is counseling and to seek help from professionals. That's what fixes abuse. Now let's talk about the physical abuse and the power and control wheel. This is something you can find online. I'm going to tell you the part that bothered me the most as a professional, as a father of a young girl, and as a father of young men. It really bothers me that this is even out there in our public, that we had to create this wheel of what is physical violence so that people can understand that. You know, when we think about physical abuse, you know, for me, physical abuse is something that I deal with on a professional level as a police officer. That's the kind of things that I put people in jail. That's the kind of things that eventually takes them from jail to prison. And then once they're in prison, those are the things that they sit there and ponder on for years. And that's what I want you to understand. When it becomes physical, there is nothing that says that any of that is right. And I'm not going to say anything as far as hitting a girl or kicking or punching or slapping or anything in that nature is going to be justified except to defend yourself. And here's what I want you to understand, young ladies. If it happens once, it's going to happen again. Now, if that young man is willing to get counseling and you to be a part of that, game on. If they're not willing to get counseling, that's the signal that it's about power and control in your relationship, and there is no love and there is no respect at that point. Looking at the board up there, you look at this wheel. One of the things that's the key one in there, if you look at peer pressure, here's what I want you to understand. This is about you. There's over 900 students at this high school, and I probably know at least 90% of y'all. Hopefully you haven't done it in a negative way and it's been in a positive way. But you stand as individuals, every last one of you. Does not need to be peer pressure. I'm going to tell you that in the modern world that we live in, peer pressure is very dominant. I encourage you, both male and female, both adult and young person, to learn how to stand on your own. If you can learn how to avoid peer pressure, half the battles that we deal with in our day-to-day life will be gone, because we'll make decisions and you'll make the decision that's best for you, the best for your family, and most importantly, the best for your future. Let's talk about technology. But the facts about abuse and technology. This little fella right here, male or female, you can call it whatever you want, this little guy right here gets you in more trouble. Where before, we'd actually have to approach someone, or we'd have to whisper in someone's ear, hey, guess what about this person? Guess what about that person? We don't have to do that anymore. We get to hide behind this screen on our cell phones, and we get to say the most horrible and most abusive things and the most threatening and realistically the most damaging thing to anybody out there in the world. And here's the deal. You can delete that. You can close out. You can even dispose of your phone. But I promise you, in the minds of the person that received that text, and even in the mind of the person that sent that text, it doesn't go away. And when we look at the idea of technology, I love technology. And most of you know that I have 2 phones and I use it. And I love all that technology. But I'm blessed that I'm able to use that in a very professional and a very proper manner. Here's what I want you to understand. If I was to ask all of y'all in this school today, do you feel like that the technology we have in America today is really a positive thing? All of you would say yes. But then if I ask the next question, do you believe that technology is also a very bad thing when used in an inappropriate way? And I promise you, all of you would say yes. So the good and the bad. Now here's the deal. The phone is just a phone. It sits there. It has no ability to text for anyone. Even Siri, without your voice command, has to kind of hang out inside there on a little bit of microchip to let you know, hey, I'm waiting for you. Whenever you got something to say, let me know. But when you pick up that phone, it's that self-preservation of peer pressure. Again, going back to that, who am I? Do I really want to send that? And most importantly, to whom I'm sending it, do they really want to receive this? And most importantly, again, once you send it and it comes into my knowledge or into a law enforcement's knowledge, you've committed a crime. I really want you to think about the facts of abuse and technology. It's easy for me to say something mean on a cell phone when they don't see my face, or they don't even know for sure 100% that it's me, it's real easy to be mean to somebody. And here's the deal. If you're sending hateful, mean texts to the person that you say you love and you have respect for, that's not love and respect. We're back to power and control. You can control a lot of what you do that's positive, and honestly, you can really create a lot of that's negative with the way you control your ideals and your attributes in life. Let's talk about the different types of digital respect. Digital forms of digital respect. Disrespect is when you send emails or you send a text message, and I know you're saying emails, y'all. Here's my thing. I can remember when I was sending a message to somebody, I took out a piece of paper and wrote a note, and I actually passed it. Took a lot more courage to hand it to the person and let them read it and stare at you. Modern technology allows you to send different things. Constant messaging, threatening text messages, online stalking, threatening to share pictures, and impersonating through other people through social networking so you can get the goods on people. What I want you to understand is that phone is a neat tool. And girls and guys, both directions, as far as I can tell you right now, I have young ladies and young men that have sent pictures of themselves that are totally inappropriate. And I'm not here to point fingers at any one young man or any one young lady. Under no circumstances should you be sending any pictures of your private or your personal area. All I can tell you is in this world of technology, there is no such true word as deleting. That you can clear it, but there's no real word of deleting. I think that's a farce. The other thing that you look at, when you say it's deleted and you send it to one person, have knowledge in the back of your mind that that person probably is going to share it with at least 2 people. And then those 2 people are probably going to share it with 2 people themselves. And you can do the math and the arithmetic, and you realize just how quickly it gets out there. In the world of technology today, just as easy it is to get the information out there for your future employers, your future colleges, and even your future spouse or your future children might at some point have access to that technology and say, Mom, you did this. Dad, you did this. And so realize that the bigger picture is not what you're doing today. It's really what you're doing 5, 6, 7, 8 years down the road. Folks, the future is at your doorstep. Trust me, it gets better from high school. It gets more individual from high school. All I'm saying is what you put out there on digital technology, out there, cell phones or on the internet, it's hard to get rid of. That's all I can tell you. Why is dating abuse prevalent? Why does it happen in our country? And why is it currently happening here in the city limits of Fredericksburg? Well, there's so many answers, and honestly, I probably could have done an hour long just a segment on that one slide about all the reasons why they're out there. One of the things is that's what we're raised. We're raised that way. If I were to ask all the boys in here, hey, guys, how many of y'all have been dreaming about your weddings since you were 8 years old? They would look at me and say, I haven't thought about it. But if I was asked the same category of girls how long you've been thinking about it, they've been thinking about it since they played princess when they were little. And they've been thinking about it since the day that they knew what the word wedding was, and they knew that their mom and dad were married. That's the difference in that sense of the word, is they look at it. And romantic. Now let's talk about respect and love. Love is a powerful thing, and I'm going to tell you, I'm in love with my wife, and I'm in love with my family. I love my children, and I love my wife. The respect that I give her is a warm feeling, and I know what that feels like. I also know when I've been mean to her or been disrespectful to her, and I don't like what that feels like. But I felt it, and I know it's not appropriate. And we also look at it, it's the mindset. Me man, you woman. Well, folks, I would like to hope that we say, I'm man, you woman. Let's sit down and talk about our roles as a relationship, where we want to see ourselves. Do you want to see this as a long-term relationship? Do we want to see it as a short-term relationship? Set the standards of what you're looking at. And I'm going to throw you back into that peer pressure again. If you see your friend dating someone and they seem to be having fun, does that mean that you would only have fun in your life if you were dating someone, whether you're a male or a female? The answer to that is no. Now I'm going to tell you, I dated, and there was always friends of mine that were dating. And when I dated, I was looking for the person that I would, when I was older, not now while in high school, I was looking for the person that I knew I wanted to spend the rest of my life with. And in high school, I'm going to tell you right now, as I stand here, and you can challenge me if you want to, find me in my office or my classroom, but Mr. and Miss Wright do not walk on this campus right now. I'm going to tell you why. Because they're here, they're just not ready yet, and they're not mature enough yet for those responsibilities of the pressure. And then, most importantly, they have no experience. They have experience of being a teenager, and if I always need teenager questions answered, that's who I go to, is a teenager. If I need adult questions answered, guess who I go to? The adults. It goes back to the old motto, if you want to cook or bake, ask grandma or ask a baker. So if you want to know what the ideal of a true relationship, talk to those adults that have experienced it. One of the things that I want you to understand is there is no more hierarchy of I'm man and you woman. The key thing is that we have a society that requires both of us to work together. And when you raise children and you have two different directions of ideas of that, it's going to be very hard. So I really want you to understand, this is not about I'm better because I'm a man or I'm weaker because I'm a girl. It really comes in as how can we work together to make each other 100% to succeed in our lives as far as dating or future marital relationships. Well, let's talk about the myths and facts versus the ideas of what you don't know. Drugs and alcohol cause someone to be violent. That's not the truth. Just because you get drunk doesn't mean you go from being this really sweet Prince Charming to this incredible Hulk that scares and intimidates your girlfriend. What it really means is that if you are the person that's already in the control and power mindset, it just increases that. So drinking alcohol or inducing drugs just enhances the problem that already exists. And girls, I'll be honest with you, and guys, if alcohol is causing that, we like to call that a clue, that it's not something that you definitely want your intimate other, as far as your boyfriend or girlfriend, to be there for under the influence. Most of the times, abusers will never get better because it's a learned behavior and cannot be unlearned. That's a myth. You know, I've dealt with high school age kids that have been in trouble, and I've met with the boys that have been the abusive person, and I've met with the girls that have been the victims. And I have worked with those young men that have physically said to me, Officer Ayala, I want to be a better person, and I know what I'm doing is not right. And I have seen them go on to be successful, and I've seen them go on to have healthy relationships. But it's in the idea of you, of that person, that individual. And here's what's most important to me, is I can't do it for you. I can't make the change. But if you're willing to make that change, I promise you there's a lot of people out there that are willing to help you. But you've got to ask. The other thing is jealousy and possessiveness is a sign of true love. I'm going to tell you right now, if I was jealous or possessed with my wife, we would not have a good relationship. I trust my wife. I love my wife, and she loves me. The key thing to understanding in a relationship, the most important thing about a relationship is the ability to trust someone. Just because I say, hey, you know what, the only reason I got mad and hit you was because, you know, I really love you. Well, I'll be honest with you. I would say, well, if you really loved me, you would not have hit me, and we wouldn't be having this discussion right now. Really think about that idea is that possessiveness is not a good thing. One of the most wonderful times for my wife is when she goes off with her friends and she comes back and she spends minutes and hours telling me the wonderful things that her family did and her friends did while they were out there. And me likewise, when I go fishing with my friends, I love to come back and tell her about the laughter and the fun that we have. I need that time. She needs that time. When you're dating, trust me on this. There's enough stress out there to keep you busy for the next 20 years. So what I want you to understand is let's have some room. If you can't do that, it's time to let that relationship go. The next thing is the reason why people stay in an abusive relationship is not really that bad because they like it. That's why they're there. The truth of it is, remember when I talked about knowledge? Most of these young people don't even know that they're in a bad way. They don't even realize that they're in an abusive relationship. That's why I'm encouraging you to come forward and talk to me, talk to any teacher, talk to anyone, but please talk. It's best to know where you're at. And you know what? Sometimes things just need a little fine-tuning. Maybe he's a little controlling, but yet he understands it. Maybe we can work on that. But it doesn't mean it's a bad thing. Know the red flags. You know, when we look at all the different clues that I look for as a professional, when I deal with people, I'm looking for things. Look if they're jealous. If they're jealous now, they're going to be jealous tomorrow. If they're jealous yesterday, they're going to be just jealous as they were then. Constantly checking up on you on your cell phone, calls you names, puts you down, and tells you what to do. I never tell my wife to do, mostly because I like my life and I don't want it to end anytime soon, but I definitely get with her and ask her what I'd like her to do. And she gets with me and asks me what I'd like to do. I should never have to tell anybody what to do except if it's for their own safety and their own best things that would be for them. That's the only time I should tell anyone what to do. Now, you have bosses that tell you what to do, but that's a whole different ballgame. But here's the most important one. You can't threaten anyone. If you're threatening to harm someone or you're threatening to harm yourself, that's a big step. And again, if someone threatens to harm you or themselves, please call 911. Let us as professional police officers, EMS personnel, let the professional emergency responders deal with that person. Because the threat of causing harm to themselves or others is very serious. And the most important thing to never forget is a lot of these people have acted on it. They've either committed suicide or they've caused harm or serious bodily injury and even death to the person that they once said they love and have respect for. Let's talk about the impacts of dating and abuse for these young ladies and men that are involved in that. There's everything from depression, using drugs and alcohol, developing poor and happy hygiene and eating, low self-esteem. They blame themselves that the reason why the relationship isn't working is because of who they are and that stuff. And it just brings on a lot of confusion and a lot of things that students your age and young people your age don't really need. I mean, you really don't. You have enough trying to pass all your classes and make sure your parents are happy with your grades. And, you know, and that's what I want you to understand. You're in high school. There's going to be plenty of time for you to develop a relationship and hopefully eventually lead into a beautiful relationship as a marriage and having children and having your careers going on. There's so many negatives that go along with the abuse of dating. And I know this much. I don't want to be a part of something negative. I know you would only want to be a part of something positive. So make sure that if you are a friend of a girl or a friend of a guy and you're seeing that they're changing in so many negative ways that are negative that you see on the board, but most important, if you say, you know what, I'd be better off dead because my boyfriend doesn't love me, or I'd be better off dead because my girlfriend wants to leave me, those are things that need to get to the professionals, the teachers, to your administration, the staff. Those are the things you need to get out there and talk to them. All right, let's talk about healthy relationships. You know, I'm going to say this. I believe, and truly in my heart and soul believe, I'm in a very healthy relationship with my wife. And the one thing I'm going to tell you is it's a full-time job being in a marriage, and it's a really full-time job being in a dating relationship. And that idea of the most important thing that you realize is I strive every day to make my wife happy. Am I successful? Most likely not all the time, but I think I get pretty close. But if my direction is to do what's right for my wife and my children, if the ideal that I'm shooting for and the goal that I have with myself is to be the best person I can be, to have respect for my wife, to have respect for her friends and her family, to have respect for all those, the easy part for her to do is to love me. And when I do things that make her feel proud of who I am, just like I would expect you to make the people you're around feel proud of you, like your parents and the teachers and the girl or guy that you feel like is someone important to you, that's what comes along with all these things you see on this wheel. The partnership and commitment. I'm committed to my marriage. I'm committed to my wife. I know she's committed to me. And here's the deal, folks. When I mess up, the best way to fix that problem with my wife is to own up to it, to say, hey, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that. Or I apologize for not getting the dishes done. I do the dishes, guys. That's part of it. The other thing is we're going to come back to the word respect. The only way to gain respect using this wheel is to follow that wheel. Now, I know you see it on the board, and I'm not going to go through all of it because it would take a lot of time. One of the things that I want you to understand, let's going back to love and respect. You know, all of y'all have been disrespected, so I don't really have to give you a definition of it. And you can still probably remember those days. But I know that every one of y'all have also felt the same feeling of respect. And here's the way I look at it. Which one do you want to have when you go to sleep knowing that you were done respectful or you were disrespectful? But the most important thing I want you to remember as we close this out with love and respect and power and control. You know, I wake up in the mornings and I'm happy, and most of y'all see me and I'm jubilant. And that's because I'm doing my best every day to earn your respect. And I do that, earning my respect with you in the hallways and in the classroom. And also what I'm asking for is for you to do the same thing in your world. When you're walking down the hall, earn the respect of your fellow classmates. If you're dating, earn the respect of the other person, whether it's a male or a female. Now understand this, when it comes down to the final morning that you wake up, I want you to be happy who you are. Being in an abusive relationship as the victim or as the abuser, you can't possibly wake up better, feeling better about who you are. All I'm asking you folks is we have a lot of you out there that are dating. We have a lot of you that have knowledge about people in trouble and harm's way, and they're being abused. I need you to come forward. And here's the other thing. If you have a good relationship, there's nothing that says you can't come talk to me either, because I want to hear about those things. And here's the other thing. We love you here at FHS. The FISD district cares about you. You're a part of this community. You're the future. And we want to make sure that you have a very positive and happy future. For one reason, we want you to be respected, and most importantly, we want you to be loved. We don't want any power. You don't need any power when you have respect, and you don't need any control when you have both respect and love. Folks, I want to thank you for your time. I hope that you get something out of this deal, out of this little video. If you feel like you still have questions and you would like to talk to me and you think someone needs help, please come find me or go to an adult, tell an administrator, tell a teacher, and let's make sure that we take care of our own. Baton Billies, love you guys. Y'all take care. Hey, also, look, I got this information on the internet. See, I told you it's a positive thing. You know, these websites that you see up there, you're more than welcome to copy them down right now, or you could come get to me and I'll give you a copy of them. need ideas of what to determine what's abuse and what's not abuse, and also need ideas to have a very positive and respectful relationship. And I want that for you. So please check this out. Come see me.